child. Great adventure awaits you.
Hello, everyone. I am back. Um, it is I, the dreaded DM, or Dread, or Caitlin, whatever floats your boat. Um, I am back finally with a new stream. I'm so sorry for the long old absence between Comic Con and my taster sessions, the Call to Adventure sessions. I did myself a bit of a disservice, and ex- I am just now extreme. I was extremely tired, and now I know better, and I will pace myself. Emma Clark 632785. Thank you so much for both the Twitter follow and yes, and for coming over from there. Thank you so much. Welcome to the stream. Uh, I'm going to be doing something a little bit different today, and uh, as some of you may have seen in chat, uh, Sneaky Boy is back in chat, and we finally had our bakery face off at Comic Con where um, Dylan from Hearthfire Tales um, tried our confectionery goods, and the better person won, and that person was Snee. Like, uh, I will truly never forget it because I was I wasn't expecting the difference to be so high, but Dylan took a bite out of my creation, which was a toffee yum yum. If anyone's ever tried them from Lidl, oh my god, so beautiful. But it was my first time making it. I second guessed my first choice of baked item, something I knew would be good, and went for novelty. Um, but I was really proud of how they came out, and and Dylan did like them, to be fair. But uh, then Dylan took one of Snee's cookies. It was if I remember correctly, I do remember. I will never forget salted caramel and like chocolate chip cookie, and like bite immediately. Snee wins. Snee wins, and I was like, "What? No, I refuse to accept. I must try." And when I tell you, it was truly the best cookie I have ever had. Hold on, I need to. Yeah, right. When I tell you, right, it was the best cookie I've ever had in my life. I am not bullshitting. All right, and I just I can't. I've been telling friends about it, okay? And I don't like, because here's the thing. I don't like chocolate chip cookies all that much. I know as a American that it's blasphemy and I must be cast out. Don't worry, I already left. But I cannot I've just never been particularly fond of chocolate chip cookies. It's wrong to say that I hate them. I just have never particularly enjoyed them. Snee has put exactly what they were: dark and white chocolate chunk cookies with salted caramel drizzle. I truly cannot stress enough how good it was. And like, as soon as I ate it, I was like, no, Dylan made the right choice. Absolutely, he made the right choice. And I do plan on redeeming myself someday, because the original thing I wanted to bring is actually a family recipe. And the toffee yum yums that I made, it was my first time making them. And while good, definitely not the best. And I will redeem myself someday. Um, but that's not why I'm here. I just wanted to gush about Sneeze Cookies for a little bit. Um, I am here because I wanted to do something a little different for this stream. I was feeling I was and still a little bit am kind of burnt out from doing all the D&D uh games and taster sessions and all that type of thing. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love it, but when I thought about doing it today, I just couldn't really face it. But with that being said, I am doing something D&D related. Just not a role playing thing in itself because I don't have the energy right now. But usually I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought because Snee just posted, when I remake them, I will write down my measurements. Please do. I can't say I don't I want to I need someone from like my personal friend group or my family. I need wait no my I was going to say I want my husband to try them, but my husband is allergic to chocolate. So I mean, he's not allergic to the point where he would die if he ate one. Like, it's not like he would go into anaphylactic shock or anything like that. It would just make him feel sick and potentially have a migraine or something like that. But I just need somebody else. I need to know that I'm not insane. um yeah, so while I'm not doing anything role play right now, I'm going to do something I'm only slightly okay at. Uh, I am going to do some Photoshop, but not in the way you think. So, when I started doing these taster sessions, the call to adventure, look it up if you would like. I'm currently doing a workshop, a 3-part workshop in Monaghan Town Library, which is completely booked out. So unfortunately, if you wanted to try that, you can't. But hopefully, I will be hopefully soon there will be more scheduled down the line. But for this workshop that I'm currently doing in Monaghan Library, I decided to do character creation. And no, I don't mean I'm going to show them where D&D Beyond is, or I'm going to take them to the nearest convenient online character creator. Those are fine. Like I have beef, as everyone does, with D&D Beyond. But only because I want to make more characters without having to spend money. Other than that, it's a pretty good service. But one of the ways when I first started learning how to play D&D, one of the best ways I found to actually understand what my character was doing and why the rules were the way they were was to actually create characters using pen and paper, the old-fashioned way before these newfangled computers and nonsense. And I had mixed reactions to telling my players that the goal was to create with character. Thanks, Nate. Enjoy your friends. My very mixed reactions to telling my players that we were going to do character creation on paper. And it was a very even split with, because I run both a teens workshop and I run an adults workshop. In the adults workshop, while they were, for the most part, they were pretty down. The writing full abilities was a little bit of a hard sell, but at the same time, once they got into it, they were into it. especially when I show you what I've been working on. The teens, however, were not as pleased. um, Especially because for a lot of them, this is uh, like the last couple weeks before they go back to school. And then here comes me saying, "Oh, you want to play D&D? Homework." A mountain of paperwork. This is what taxes are like. We're going to do taxes before you play. um but I will always stand my ground and say that doing it that way is, in my opinion, the best way to not only learn D&D but to understand D&D, because the problem, it's not even really a problem, it's just a peeve, a pet peeve that I've seen with people who play D&D using these kind of D&D Beyond character sheets and all these different types of like character creation websites. There's nothing wrong with them. I use them as well. But um it doesn't actually help you understand your character. Uh, for example, I had people in my teens workshop in particular who had played before, but they had never built a character in this way before. They had only done these character creation things. And because of that, to a certain, they didn't actually understand a lot of the rules. Like, why some of your modifiers are higher than others with skills. What are skills? What are abilities? What are saving throws? Like these kind of little things that is kind of part and parcel of being a D&D player, never mind a DM. And I've found that while people, that type of experience comes with time as well, like knowing those rules and understanding those rules. But I think understanding comes a lot quicker when you actually write it down and read through it and actually be like, oh, my character is a rogue, and this is why they have a plus 10 to their perception while their insight is only plus 2, you know? So yeah, that was an experience that I've had. So, but I also understand that it is extremely intimidating to crack open the player's handbook and to go through the handbook looking for every single thing. And then within the player's handbook, some of the language can be a little difficult to understand. And some of that is intentional because, DMs, it means DMs can kind of adapt it to however they want. But it just also means that players just trying to learn how to create find it more difficult than it is or needs to be, right? So I decided to kind of make a worksheet. Oh, there we go. Um, yes, sorry. I decided to make a worksheet to kind of help narrow it down. And right now I'm working on doing that for the 4d6 method. So, do you know what? This is now is the time. Now is the time to go into the character sheet. The worksheet. I'm still working on a name for it, so if anyone has any good ideas for names, let me know. welcome to Photoshop. I am still learning. Okay. Oh, and it's of course it's not detecting on the stream itself. Why would it? That would be way too simple. Here we go. Mouse, you are letting me down. Let me see if this will work. No, it will not. I'm sorry, everybody. Technical difficulties. When in doubt, turn it off and on again. Okay, let's see if that worked. There we go. Perfect. So, basically, we go through everything systematically, and for this particular sheet, I use the 4d6 method to get more random type of stats. Just going to that doesn't matter. Okay, so 4d6 method. Let's go through it while we go through the sheet, and we'll just zoom out a little bit. Here we go. So we can get the full glory. Oh, and I have music. Why isn't that playing? Oh, it's because... Okay. If it's too loud, if the music is too up, just let me know, and I will do a fix. But it seems alright to me. I might turn it down just a little bit just to... Don't know why my... Really don't know why my mouse is deciding today is the day to be an asshole. There we go. Apologies if that was too loud for anybody. Okay. I keep saying we're going to go through it, and this time I mean it. Okay. So, the first thing you do, regardless of anything, in my opinion, in terms of D&D, is to have an idea of what your basic stats are before you choose race and a class and all that type of thing. So, like I said before, we are using the 4d6 method, and it explains right here what that means. So, step 1, ability scores. Roll 4 6-sided dice, then remove the die with the lowest number. Add the 3 remaining numbers together, and you'll have your first ability score. Repeat this 6 times to fill in the boxes below. And you may see down here that there are not 6 boxes, but 12. I know a couple of DMs who do this, but this is my own rule as a DM. And I think something just generally you should do when you're making a worksheet like this, excuse me, is have enough room to for mistakes, first off, as this is a worksheet at the end of the day, and secondly, um, my own homebrew rule is if the first set of your rolls is truly abysmal, I would allow you to do a second six set of rolls, but you have to choose that full set. So, for example, if the first row of boxes was 10, all tens, right? But the next box, 3 of them were 7, and then 5 of them, and the other 3 were 14, right? You would have to choose either the one with all tens or the ones with half 10, half. I said 14 or something. I can't remember. Either way, that's my personal rule. So quite boppy song, this one. The next one, choose your race, which is fairly self-explanatory. Lots of different types of races in D&D. Both official and homebrew. And in this section, we write out the particulars of your race. So in the far left over here, you would write your race and subrace, and below that if you have a subrace. Some don't have subraces. Then below you have speed. Then you have your ability score increase. Every race and every custom lineage has some sort of ability increase, so there's room for that. Not all races have their own types of proficiencies, whether in skills or in tools. And skills we'll get into later. You can write all that here. Any languages that you may know off the bat, and then racial trait. Like, for example, if you are a dragonborn, you would be writing in your breath weapon under your racial trait. Or if you are a half-orc, you would be writing your relentless endurance, or your what's the other one? Can't quite remember what the other skill are. I only really remember relentless endurance. And another thing, there is a feature called menacing, where it's like, it just is, you have proficiency in intimidation. You would write that in the proficiency section. Okay? So, next up, again, not all DMs use this, but I tend to use this as well. And I know enough people who use backgrounds that it makes sense here. Backgrounds. So, as it says here, choose you who you were before you became a hero or villain. And you fill in the table below. Very similar to the table above. You've got the name of your background. So that could be hermit, sage, all that type of thing. Proficiencies, once again, not every background has proficiencies, but you write them here if they're there. Equipment, again, if applicable. Languages, again, if applicable. And every single background has at least one feature. So, a good thing to have. And again, a lot of people use this enough that it made sense to have this here. The feats. Very simply, feats are special abilities that may be added instead of ASI, which is explained, as said here, in step 4. This can add versatility that you may lack. Check with your DM first. I write this a number of times throughout this sheet, just checking in with your DM all the time. And again, just write in your feat under the feat column, and then your features under the features column. The features of that feat, at least. Moving on. Oh, and you may have noticed that each of these tables are different colors, and that will come into play later. Woo! Now, the thing most people think of when they think D&D, class. So this has your entire, most of what you would be writing down as you're writing in your class. And the little description says, choose what talents your character has dedicated their time to. Oh, and I actually forgot to read out something. So in Choose Your Race, I wrote about proficiency. Each race comes with unique skills, abilities, and proficiencies. A proficiency is a skill or tool your character has put particular effort into learning and mastering. Because I had a lot of people during my workshops asking me what proficiency is. What is a proficiency bonus? And that is the best way I have found to describe what a proficiency is. And I say it again right here, and I even put it in bold. Remember, a proficiency is something your character has focused on mastering. And once again, there is a table for everything to be written down, though one of the notes I did get was maybe that this table could be a little wider, just to allow for room. And I agree to a certain extent, but I also think some of the people who told me that have not great handwriting. But it is something I tried to take into account as much as possible. So like it's, for example, for level, you don't really need a huge box for level, so yeah, it's a number, and it's not a big number. Proficiency bonus, 'tis there. Your class and subclasses underneath that, and then your hit dice. Ability score improvement. There are some tables that I've written down that they may not necessarily apply, like ASI that would only apply if you have hit level 4, and levels similar to that. And then your DM might decide, oh, let's do the feats, optional feats rule instead. Yeah, and then I decided with this one I would separate the proficiency stuff into different tables because I found people were getting confused between some of them. So skill proficiency's got its own little section, saving throw proficiency has its own section, and the armors, the weapons, and the tools have their own section as well. Starting equipment, I do realize that one could probably be bigger as well, but class features. One of the big things that was talked to me about with this, or one of the big questions that I kept getting asked about this worksheet was like, do I have to write down the entire ability? Do I have to write down this whole description? And the answer is always no. No, you do not. All you have to do is write enough about the ability that you understand what is happening. But it was also quite funny. There was one of the people in one of my workshops, because I was going around just giving out help and advice whenever during this entire workshop, but there was one person who was on their phone quite a bit, and whenever I came over, they would act like a naughty school child and try to be like, no, teacher, I was working the whole time. And I had to be like, dude, I am, first of all, you are so much older than me. Second of all, I am not a teacher, and this is not school. And we are all adults here. If you want to be on your phone during this particular stage, that's fine. But don't. But come on, just like, if but this person was a very funny person. At certain points I think uh uh he was just doing it to mess with me and make me laugh, which it did. So but anyways, um you you would write your class features and any spellcasting stuff here. Um or if you're not a spellcaster, just write in more class features. Whatever floats the boat, as I like to say. Now, this is where the colors come in. So, assign the ability scores. This is where we add up all together all of the scores from the racial bonuses, from ASI if it applies, and from feats if it applies, excuse me. And you can see here along the side, along the table, each one is a different color. So if we just go back to the first, so the initial rolls are on white paper. The race and background stuff are in this nice blue. The feats are orange. And finally, anything related to class, including proficiencies, ASI features, all that type of good stuff. All of that is this nice bright neon green. And all of that is reflected in these boxes here. And you can also see along the side, I'll zoom in a little bit because you can't quite see it on that monitor. Here we go. You can see all the 6 main abilities of D&D: strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. And once again, I teach a beginner's workshop, so a lot of the time people don't actually know what these things mean. I mean, they can make a pretty good guess at what strength is and what intelligence is. And I think because of the rise of this slang word Riz, a lot of people could actually make a pretty solid guess at what charisma is. But all the other stuff doesn't make sense a lot of the time. So way back when I started, I found this meme that was going around at the time, and it actually really helped to explain a lot of these ability scores, at least to me. So first one, strength, is being able to crush a tomato. It's commonly called the tomato analogy. Dexterity is being able to dodge a tomato. Constitution is being able to eat a bad tomato. Excuse me. Intelligence is knowing a tomato is a fruit. Wisdom is knowing not to put a tomato in a fruit salad. And finally, charisma is being able to sell a tomato-based fruit salad. And it made me laugh at the time, and it made me remember. And I wanted to have this little piece of D&D meme history in my worksheet, and it just works really. I find it works quite well as an analogy. And then people make fun of me sometimes because of how I say tomato, and go away. Yeah, I say tomato. Do you say tomato? Oh, good. I don't know why. I'm feeling very antagonistic right now. I'm going through my rebellious phase. But yes. So, very dramatic music. So, in an effort to kind of God, this music is going hard. um, in an effort to kind of make it easier to help people find the information they need on these worksheets, I color coded them. So, and I'm finding that it is working, but I'm thinking I need to put in like a title page or something to kind of say right off the bat what each color means, because I found if I don't say what each color means, people just ignore it. Um and that's on me. That's my fault. But at the same time, I have had a couple people say to me that having this and these kind of more simpler explanations has really helped them uh, figure out, and not only figure out, but also to understand what these all mean. So I think it's working. So yeah, um, once you have all of the stuff written out, you can just plug in all of the numbers that you may need. So far, just because my I wanted to keep my workshop games relatively simple. Um, I believe only the adult group had ASI at all. And only yeah again only one person in the adult group took human as their race, and I said they could have the human variant rule, which allows you to take a feat. Um, and I don't know, I can't remember if they did or not. Either way, a lot of the time ASI or feat wasn't applicable to my groups, so um, they just added what they needed to add, and they put they slot their final scores in here. Now, this sheet isn't finished yet, so they didn't get this nice finish sheet. I've been using like a draft that that I knocked up on Google Docs. Um, but oh no! Ooh, my mic. Yeah, it's all great. Everything is good and fine. Don't look at me. Don't look at me. There we go. Okay. Yeah, so I've been for these kind of test runs of this sheet, I've been using a Google Docs draft that I've been changing based on like my how they've gone, and overall, yes, I think adding this design here, because this design is the one that's most commonly found on most character sheets, will for where you put your ability scores. I think that'll be really, really helpful for helping people to kind of connect the dots. And I decided that I would use red as the final, like, this is the final, it's the final countdown. I'm sorry. So sorry. Um, yeah, moving on. So this is where I left off from the last time I was working. So once you've put in your ability scores, you move on to working out your modifiers and your saving throws and your whatnot. Um, Now that you have your ability scores, you can use them to figure out what to add to d20 rolls for skills and saving throws. This addition is called the modifier. A lot of people a lot of people didn't know the word modifier, which again I can understand why, but I think that misunderstanding could have been avoided. Um, Using the table below, match your ability scores to their modifiers, then fill in the empty boxes. Now, this is something that I keep running up against, but I don't know how else to explain it. So when you have your final ability score, right? So when you have your final ability scores, the ones that are written in over here, don't know if you can see that cursor. The ones that are written right over here, you match the number to the score in that red box to the ability score table. So for example, if I got a 13 as one of my scores, I would go down to 13, find the modifier, and then plug it into, let's say I have a 13 in strength. So that means I would have a +1 in strength. Now, I have found when people are doing this, they often think that they need to add or subtract depending on the score. The modifier. So for example, if you have that strength score of 13, you find you have a modifier of +1, they immediately write 14 because 13 plus 1 is 14. And I really, if anyone has a better suggestion for how to explain that in such a way that they understand to not add the modifier to that score, that would be greatly appreciated, because I really don't know. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, for the most part, it's not too big a deal. As soon as I say, "Oh, I meant you match them," like match the score to its thing, they're like, "Oh, okay." But it would be, I'm just not quite sure how to explain it any other way. So if anyone has any ideas, let me know. So you plug in all your modifiers there. And then you take those modifiers, add your proficiency score, which you find in your class, which is this bright neon green. And that is how you get your saving throws modifier. And this is where I left off in terms of like actually working on it. And this music is actually quite fitting. I'm going to now work on the design element of this and show everybody just how bad at Photoshop I truly am. Okay. I'm also I started using a tablet for my Photoshop stuff because my father, who's also a video editor and graphic designer, he just had this tablet lying around, and I was not being as thanks, Raven. Thanks for being here, Raven. Appreciate you. My dad just had this lying around, and I asked if I could use it just because I wasn't as precise as I would like to be on my using my mouse. And Photoshop has never really been my app anyway. So he let me use it, and I've been finding it to be extremely useful. So yeah, right now what I'm doing here is the original image that I used on it, I didn't like. It wasn't red enough. So I put in a fill layer Um, and for some reason that I can't quite figure out, but don't care enough to look up completely, um, it completely covered the middle part, even though I had for a previous section where I'd used this technique. Um, it had it didn't cover up the middle part where I want it to be blank so people can actually see their answer when they write it in. Um, so I've just so what I found worked and was literally just to blend it in a way where the inside was a different shade of red to the outside, and to just rub out the dark side. And this is the last one, so I'm very happy about that. Because, like I said, and I'm very happy that I was able to work this out at all. Because, like I said, Photoshop is not my usual deal. I'm much my background is in video editing. I studied film and television production. Um, yeah, that's right. I'm a film nerd. What of it? Is anyone surprised? You shouldn't be. um, you can draw poly and subtract color from the current color. See, I tried doing that, but this is such a bit of an awkward shape that and I didn't quite get the effect that I wanted. So and also because I'm using a tablet with a pencil, whatever. Um I'm having fun. It's like I can draw, but not really. I've always been um so yes, this is a Wacom tablet, not sponsored. Uh, God, if only. Though I think it would be weird if I was sponsored by Wacom. Like I am, as much as I would love to be an artist in that way, I am not. And I've I've always wanted to be, but I don't quite have the patience to learn properly how to draw. But this is a close second, and I've even though this is what my I think this is my second or third day working on this using the tablet. Uh, but I've been really enjoying it. I think it's really cool. But how are you doing, Raven? It's been a while. I know I haven't been around in a while, but I haven't seen you knocking about in the chats when I do deem to come on here every now and again. Okay. So I'll just undo that. I took out too much. Um yeah, I used to have a friend who was an animator, and he would sometimes do streams like this where you could watch him um draw his characters uh or draw a commission or whatever it was. And I always thought it was so cool. Just the fact How dare you, sir? I have how it is bold of you to assume that I have not watched tutorials. First off, um, and because I actually watched a tutorial on how to turn this shape red because and you know what, I'll show you. Um so I used the same technique for because these ability score boxes, they were originally black, pure black. And I and you can see it on some of them. Some of the lines are not as clean or as crisp as I would like them to be, but on some of them they're really really nice and crisp. I used the what is it called? Color fill. Yeah. I used color fill to color it. But then I started to encounter, I don't know how or what I changed to cause it to not to cause it to block out the middle part as well, but it did. I'm not sure what changed or what I did differently. Um, so and I just I know I'm making more. I do know that I'm making more work than I need to in this particular way, but I do like it. Like I don't know. Um, there's something I'm finding that there's something quite mm, I don't know about I don't know what again I don't know what the term is. It's just kind of nice and relaxing and repetitive in a not in a weird way to just kind of watch the just run my pen back and forth along the tablet and just watch the pixels disappear. It's like, yeah. Oh, too much. I went too far. But yeah, I've just been really enjoying it. Um, because like I was saying, I'm my background is not is in uh video editing. Uh mainly mainly Premiere Pro, but I learned how to use DaVinci Resolve and what was the other one? Avid Media something. I can't quite remember. I never liked Avid Media Composer. That's what it was. Um because I don't know if it's still the case. I'm not as into that type of thing. I'm not hardcore or film person like that anymore. So I don't know what the main editing software is anymore. I think it's Premiere Pro is definitely up there. But because Adobe are actually never I don't I'm not I do kind of want to disparage them, but at the same time maybe I shouldn't because I am currently using their software. But it's no secret that they're expensive at least. And but you used to work with Premiere Pro and DaVinci. I liked DaVinci. I liked it for its color correction software, not so much for its video editing. But I think that's literally just because I was and am too used to working with Premiere Pro. Um my mind was like, this isn't Premiere Pro, so I don't like it. It's not what I'm used to. And yeah, and that's yeah, exactly. And it takes because my because again my father was been and is a video editor and has been for many years. Um and he was among the generation where they switched from film to digital editing. And he told me how difficult it was for that kind of adaptation. And I'm not saying learning a different software like learning DaVinci Resolve when you've learned Premiere Pro as your staple is on the same level, but I definitely you definitely feel it. And he also put out the very good point that uh when you're a professional editor, the money you're losing by learning a new software is not necessarily money you'll make back when you are fully competent with your new software. And unfortunately, a lot of these kind of bigger editing companies and editing software companies know that. They know that editors are at their very core creatures of habit in this way. Uh, um, like I know I am. I'm not only am I not willing to spend the money to get a different software, I'm not will I don't have the time to relearn everything that I spent years learning. And I'm not even a very good editor. I'm all right. I think I'm better than your average bear, for sure. But definitely not going to be. I don't think I'm going to be winning any Oscars for my editing skills either. Though I do know a guy who won an Oscar. He's cool. Not an editor, but he's a very he's either a first AC or a cinematographer. One or the other. Yeah, that's it. Like I do recognize that my attitude towards it is not a good attitude to have. But I'm not really looking to change my software. There's like a lot of people talk about how they've been screwed over by some of the functionality of Premiere Pro. Um like I've heard horror stories about like losing entire projects and uh, like having not having the ability to share your project with other people in your team and all this type of stuff. But I don't know what it is, but I've never really had those problems. Um and I actually really do like using Premiere Pro. Because apart from iMovie, Premiere Pro is the same software that my dad first used, and it's the one I have fond memories of like watching him like edit stuff, even though I didn't quite understand what editing was and what my father did at the time. Looking back, it was all very my dad, like, because you don't know the different, like, you're seeing like all this cool stuff on a computer. And my in my child brain, when I saw my dad editing on a computer, I was like, my dad's a hacker. My dad's a hacker man. um, he's not a hacker man, but he is a very talented boy. Get rid of that. I used this table in my original draft to kind of lay everything out. Um, why won't it? What page is this? This is page 4. Maybe that's why. Forgot what I was talking about. I'm sure it doesn't matter all that much. Could not use the measure. Okay. And this is so this layout in Photoshop is actually very new to me as well. This artboard, and I watched a tutorial for this Raven. um, so yeah, whenever I've worked with Photoshop in the past, it's always just been like, silly little things like my overlay and my logo and all that type of thing. I've used it for like singular pictures, nothing like this. And then I read this article about um basically how to make multi-page documents in Photoshop and in InDesign. Do you know what? No, it wasn't. It was a YouTube video. Um I should plug that guy because the video is actually excellent just for anyone who wants to make homebrew that looks similar to official material. Um what is it? Um I'll have to find it. But I'm not thinking of it right now. I find whenever I'm working on with stuff like this, there's really no talking to me about something else. What's up, Ryan? Deranged Rhino, how are you? You've been streaming a lot. I'm surprised you're not streaming tonight. How you been? Why ain't you streaming tonight? You sick of Baldur's Gate already? You have been playing, like, I've been watching. You've been playing like a lot of Baldur's Gate. And I'm so jealous because I have also been wanting to play Baldur's Gate, but oh, cool. I've been wanting to play Baldur's Gate since it came out, but I can't afford it right now. It is not an expense I could justify. I even thought about like playing it on stream, but I controversial on Twitch, I know, but I really don't like video games all that much. I've said this before. I'm a tabletop nerd. Nice. 4 days off. That tis the dream, isn't it? Who allowed you out of the cage? There we go. Yeah, that was one of the things that kind of, because it's not that I didn't care necessarily about Baldur's Gate. It's that to me it was like, oh, it's Baldur's Gate. It's a video game based on like Forgotten Realms lore. That's what I thought. And then one of my stream friends, Eli, shout out to Eli from Advanced Dungeons, he was telling me that it's D&D rules, like you roll and do all that, and I was like, what? So now I want it. yeah, like see, I like see, I'm weird. I like the idea of video games, right? Like I've played video games in the past. Uh, I am going to change the color. Um, I've played video games in the past, but it's not. It's just not something I could. Okay. It's just not something that I've been able to get into in the same way that I've been able to get into TTRPGs. What? Why? 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 Oh, that's why. You have a pet owl? Of course that entices me. Why wouldn't it? Um, I want like yeah, because and I saw like a TikTok or something about Baldur's Gate about why I saw somewhere that you don't go past level 12 in Baldur's Gate. I'm going to make this a little darker. Um and the guy who was making the TikTok explained it super well. So hats off to him. Um oh, who'd you kill? Yeah, exactly. That was kind of the point. Like in like going up to like god level in D&D works well because a DM can adapt to the situation. Like if you guys are gods, like if my players are gods, I can just make myself like the creator of all gods, right? But that is not the case in Baldur's Gate, where I guess like well, not I guess I know there has to be set boundaries for such a thing. Um oh, oh yeah, because you can get divine intervention at level 10. Jeez, imagine having that. Yeah, that makes sense that you can only use it once. Well, it is no. Actually, I would let divine intervention be used I think more than once in Baldur's Gate just because I think like there's such a low chance of it happening anyway in in D&D. Like it's like you have to roll below a 10 on a D100 to be able to use that. If I'm remembering correctly. No, you're oh, that's insane. Then like see, I don't like how you guys are convincing me to spend money I don't have. That's upsetting. Oh, okay. Yeah. See, I think you could nerf divine intervention a little bit to allow for the rolling mechanics because like I said, like I remember in spoilers for anyone who hasn't watched Dimension 20's Unsleeping City, but there is a cleric in that game who uses divine intervention. Um um no, 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 you don't have to give me anything. Don't give me anything. Um I will get to it. I will just be behind. Um I will be one of those players who plays it after all the hype has died down. uh no, well, no, I don't mind a minor spoiler. I keep seeing that there's this hot tiefling, literally hot tiefling. Um and there's that meme, arm thy servant spawns a +3 legendary mace. Oh, Upland Revival. Revive all fallen companions. 18. Oh, they do meters? Nearby allies benefit from a long... Oh my god. What is that called? Ryan, can we have this in our campaign? Ryan, let us have this in our campaign. Oh, I should say that actually. I should be plugging the campaign. So I haven't been on here in a long time to plug it, but Deranged Rhino is the DM for the Consequential Quintrivium, which I said right. Um, whoa, oh my god, what a thing to just look at real quick. I just saw. I'm not gonna say it. On like, just because I don't want Twitch to take me away from this, but damn, with a GIF. All right, whatever you're into. That actually made me completely lose my train of thought. I actually have no idea what I was talking about. What was I? Oh, those spells are completely broken. Like, what was that one you were just talking about where you not only do you heal everybody, but you heal but they gain the benefit of a long rest? That's insane. But yes, I was also talking about the Consequential Quintrivium. Deranged Rhino is the DM for that, and I revived Sora Green, who existed for a brief time on this stream, before being resurrected as a way cooler character in Ryan's campaign. And we are playing on Friday at 7:30, so you should come if you haven't and hang out and watch me torture Ryan with how many times I hit. Oh yes. I am actually like I've been thinking about it a lot actually, just that little lore, like, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about it because we never know who's going to watch. But that little lore drop you gave about the village that we're currently in, and how somebody in my, like, how you brought in that person from my backstory. Naughty, naughty. Naughty, naughty. Now, Raven, you stop with them compliments now. Same to you, Ryan. Yeah, that little lore drop, oh, that's got my brain cooking a bit. Like, because, and I am so curious about, because it hasn't come up in, again, since it was those inside checks were first made. But it is common knowledge in out of character that my character is a monk, but my character hasn't revealed anything really about it, and straight up denies that she is a monk. You complimented me, sir, and that's what you did. Yeah, she's made no mention of being a monk and has fervently denied being a monk. But I am 90% sure that one of my fellow party members, a kobold barbarian named Bug, who is going to hug me someday, I'm sure. She I'm pretty sure she She knows. She knows. I'm pretty sure. Like, I'm 90% sure of it. And and this is actually something I forgot. I'll text you about it later, Ryan, because it is something I keep forgetting to say, but I'll text you after my stream is done. Yeah, no. So speaking of my stream, so before, this skill modifier was green to match the yeah, exactly. It is funny how I didn't mean to go there. um I have so many questions, and hopefully they'll be answered next session. Um but yeah, so I changed the color from green to red because I realized, I first of all that I've zoomed in far too close, and second of all that I should just make um all of the final results, so final skill modifiers, final saving throws, final ability scores, AC, all that, just make it all red. Um and hopefully, like, my hope would be that people understand what that means. But I do plan on, once I finish all the main work, on the on this, I do plan on um making a title page with a color code key, just because I'm finding people are not quite picking up on the color coding as much as I hoped they would. But I've been, like I said, I've been really enjoying doing these workshops too. Um and I'm very much happy to be, or I don't want to sound like a jerk when I say this, but I've been yes, I've been really enjoying doing the taster sessions and introducing people to D&D, and helping to bring this community out of being a strictly online thing, because there's nothing wrong with being online. Um I love, like, the online communities the best. Um but what I but I would also I have never felt so connected to a group of people as with the people that I have met through my travels, uh, um, at, like, going to D&D shows, and going to the conventions, because I had never been to really conventions before this year, and now I've been to, like, three in the last few months. Exactly. Like, I want to, as I was telling the person who, the manager of the library I was in for my last session, it's not that people don't have the desire, it's that people don't have a space. And my goal with these sessions is to provide a space. Um because that's it has been very much neglected for nerds like us, in my opinion. Um and just the people I've met, they're so nice. They're so nice. Yeah, and that's been my thing for, like, I grew up in the boonies as well, in the northern wilds. And this idea started because you know, I used to work as an outdoor instructor, and there was one time I was at work, and there was a kid there who was a part of one of the groups that was in for residential. And this kid, and for whatever reason, I was working on my laptop that day, and my husband, who is a very nice person and knows me too well, um had bought me as a present a laptop sleeve, um a laptop case that said "World's Okayest DM." And I often use that as like kind of like a makeshift like soft laptop stand whenever I'm out with it. And I was just working away on it, and this kid had been casting glances at me the whole time, and I was like, okay, he's probably just making sure I'm not like actually keeping an eye on him or paying attention to him because he wants to do something stupid like most people who come to an outdoor center do. And he was like, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but your case, do you play D&D? Um, yeah, you should go to Athventure. I keep saying Athcon, but it's Athventure. Um, a lot of really cool DMs are gonna be there, and it's I really hope I can make um I'm gonna I need to book I need to book for it, essentially. Um, it's such a good vibe whenever you um go to these cons, because everyone is just so lovely and everyone just wants to hang out. Um, I do plan on going to AdventureCon. Um, it's more just about where will I sleep. um, and that's the other thing. For anybody who doesn't know, AdventureCon is a D&D, specifically a TTRPG convention set up by a gaming group in Athenry, and it was very successful last year. This is their second year, and I'm bummed I didn't know about it until literally the second I joined the Irish TTRPG uh space. But they are, I believe, in February. I can't remember the exact date in February, but it is in February. Um, and it's just a bunch of TTRPG nerds, just all in one space, and they are doing the place where they're holding it is the Lochray Spa and Hotel, and they are doing a special rate for people who have tickets to AdventureCon, if that's any help. I can't remember it offhand. Yeah, it's a kids community group run by people doing it for free. Um, it's a fun, like, I could go, I could have gone. Um, but it had, like, I think it was like maybe a couple of days after I had joined the Discord server. It was already done because I remember the hype around it on the server when it happened. I don't know what this music is anymore, but I'm vibing. Um, I would hope to be there from Friday until uh potentially the same amount of time, but it just depends if I can find the while the rates are fairly good for in the hotel itself, it's still quite expensive. So I'm trying to find a cheaper alternative, like one of the I've heard there's B&Bs and stuff around there that would be a potentially be a better option. Oh, oh god. Well, see, I'm not sure. See, I haven't honestly, I haven't been doing as much research as I should because I know I have a cousin. I shouldn't say who it is, but I have family, I think, in Galway, whether or not that that family member is near the hotel is another matter. Like I'm sure I there's a way it can be figured out. I just haven't sat down and figured it out yet because I have I have irons in the fire. I got you. You can sleep here. Um yeah, like that's the other option, just like finding a a nice human who will let me sleep on their sofa or something. I would also like, it would be really cool to be able to go. And I am going to go. I haven't figured out the logistics yet. They Oh my god, do they? Shut up, do they? That's the best. Um like is it like a proper aquarium that they have? Is this in Galway or is this in Athenry? Like because the last aquarium I went to was kind of disappointing. Sick. Thank you, Raven. I appreciate it. I'll let you know when I know, but I really do appreciate the offer. Um, but shit, I'm gonna have to. What, you used to live beside the aquarium or beside the hotel? Because I would be impressed by both. See, I've only been to Galway like a couple of times in my life, and one of those times was to when I was, applying for colleges back when I was 18. Oh, sick. Um I went to I was going to go to Galway to become an actor cuz I don't know if it's still the case, but at the time they had a really good drama program. And yeah, I quickly found out that NUIG is a very difficult and expensive school to get into when you are a very average student. What is this song? Well, I'm not sure if this is part of the um royalty free music that I playlist that I stuck on in the background, but it's a bop. Honestly, I'm really enjoying it. Oh, that's where that octopus came from. He ain't angry. He's cute as hell. What are you talking about? He's a good boy. Do you know what? I'm gonna finish up the 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 pixels on these sheets, and then I'm gonna call it for the night. Um, because I have not one but two appointments tomorrow, and I know they're going to be a lot. Like it's nothing. There, like it's one's like talking with like a. They're both telephone appointments, but like, I don't want to deal with them right now. They're just like, ugh. Ugh. He is not an angry boy. He's a really good boy who's misunderstood. Yeah, see, do you know what my actual, like, I would love to do, but I have no idea how I would go about doing it? Um, I would actually love to pull an adventure con in the north. I would love to do something. Uh, I don't know, like, I don't know if I would be the person to organize it because that sounds like a terrifying job that I am not good at. But um I would love to do some sort of like convention for all the peeps. Um yeah, I'm doing it right now. I'm bringing peeps together in the Twitch chat. This is a tune. Dang. I'm going to I'm going to save this song. We all know people in the north. Um Oh, what a great tune. I don't know I'm going to have to find out what that was. That was hella good. Um yeah, cuz like there's there's the it's is it MCM and that goes on in Belfast? I can't quite remember, but there is a fairly big con that happens in Belfast area. But that's it. Like but it's the same as anywhere else in Ireland, right? Like it's well, I'm getting y'all excited. I like this is like a while down the line if at all. Um cuz it's just I've got my hands full with these with Call to Adventure. And like with this I'm getting closer to setting up like a more kind of permanent club in the area. But it's still so early days that I can't think about doing something as big as a con. um well, my calls will be like in early in the day, Ryan, but I do appreciate the get out of jail free card. Um thanks for coming around, buddy. See you later. Yeah, no, doing a con like that would be like a while down the line when there's a I like it has a bit more of an established presence and like while I have some cool ideas for what could be done, I wouldn't I wouldn't even know how to begin to organize something like that. God, I really hope this song is royalty free. Like I put like the songs that have been coming up recently have been awesome cuz I'm just like letting a playlist play of royalty free music and I don't know when this stuff start. I had like a list of stuff that could just kind of go in the background, but now it's suddenly become it's become kind of metal, and I'm into it. My husband will be so proud. He I was not, and I'm still not as into it as him, but I definitely have more of a Or you're not getting any music? I've been listening to music this whole time. um oh, turns out music has not been playing. Well, I've been having a good time with it. um yeah, no, it was my first time messing around with trying to add, well, my second time trying to add music to the stream. I typically don't add music because I don't want music hard coded into my streams when I record. I want to have the option of adding music later to kind of enhance a vibe, right? But because I'm just chilling, doing some Photoshop work, I was like, might as like, couldn't hurt, and immediately just messed it up. I was fully under the impression that I was playing some nice vibey music for y'all, but it turns out, nope, no, I'm not. And honestly, it's too late to change. um, but I'm quite enjoying doing a stream like this. Like it's so strange because while I don't know if I would particularly, every time I watch streams like with a similar vibe to this, I end up just kind of forgetting them and just leaving them on in the background. And honestly, I think that's what most people are doing anyway. But this is just, it's nice. I'm doing some work, and I'm chatting away and hanging with some bros, hanging with some friends, and that's super nice. And I'm still doing D&D related content even if it's not, D&D itself. Um but I'm hoping that doing this sheet will will help people to actually understand their stuff whenever they make character sheets, and encourage people to make character sheets. Um well, that's one of the reasons why I'm kind of thinking I'll bow out soon. I can feel my energy flagging a little. But I'm just hanging, you know? I might do this a little bit more often because I do plan on making more similar sheets. I plan on doing sheets for standard array and for point buy. But I wanted to finish this sheet in its entirety first so I'd have a really solid template to work off of. But thank you for saying I've been able to keep um my audience interested. Um cuz I do enjoy streaming. Uh and actually on that, I'm going to, oh, my back, Jesus. Um I plan on streaming again this week on this channel, not just on I'm actually doing, oh wow, I'm doing like 3 streams. So, I'm doing Penny Dragon Consequential Quintrivium on Friday. I'm doing a new stream on this channel Uh, 3, I think it's 3:30. It's either 3 or 3:30 on Sunday, and then um on Sunday night at 9:30 I will be uh doing Advanced Dungeons Intermediate Dragons. We're coming up to the end of uh the Explorers of Shaldera miniseries, and it's been really good, really fun so far. So come check it out if you guys are around. Um yeah, because the thing is, it's not that I have been streaming. I just haven't been streaming on this channel. Um I just it's weird cuz I sometimes find uh streaming to be quite intimidating because, in the same way that you like as a like I compare it to like being a radio host or something like that, where you're on for the whole time, and it's down to you to keep it entertaining and to engage with the audience if uh your content calls for audience engagement. And Twitch is kind of one of those unique places where it is almost frowned upon uh if you don't engage with your audience. Like, I've seen a couple of places where there's exceptions to the rule, but those are exceptions to the rule. Like let's just take Critical Role for example. Like I was watching Candela Obscura a while back, and honestly, like I'm not like I didn't start. A lot of people get into D&D by watching Critical Role. That is not how I started. So I don't have the same kind of connection to it as a lot of people do. Um but it's good. And it's not my favorite, but it's good. Really? Wow. Jeez, I'm so sorry. Um your first experience of D&D of a D&D channel in Ireland was one person doing it alone. Dang. Um but my but yeah, I don't have the same connection to Critical Role as everyone does. So I went into Candela Obscura with very few expectations. Just knowing like Matthew Mercer is a very good DM, and there's no denying that at all. Um, I really enjoyed Candela Obscura. Like the few times I've watched Critical Role, it feels so overwhelming to watch because there's just so much of it. Like um like there's no getting around the fact that they have like a ridiculous number of episodes. Like it's like 5 at least I feel like it's like 500 episodes or something like that, and the vast majority of them are over 4 hours long. Whoa. You got into D&D on the first edition D&D. Dang. Like I've played OSR. Um like but I've only played it once, and that was a one shot. And I don't think I could do it. I couldn't deal with Thaco. Like I simply like I refuse to even try to understand Thaco. Um, but I have looked a little bit at 3.5. Just because I've been stealing some monster blocks from 3.5 for my games. Um, but yeah, no, it's like there's a certain point where I know, yeah, not like whenever I look at all of the old stuff, I know if I had been introduced to D&D when those editions were around, I could maybe 3.5, maybe 3.5. But first second, no. Absolutely not. It would have been such a nightmare. To use your phrase, like a literal nightmare. How am I doing on this? How many have I done? Jeez, there's so many. Yeah, like, but the other thing I want to do with my sessions is I would really, really love to introduce people to more than just D&D. Um, because like even when I was talking to the supervisor of the library that I was doing my last sessions in, um, like I was telling her about um like how I was telling her about Call of Cthulhu, I think. And she was like, "Oh, there's other TTR there's other things like D&D?" And I was like, "Yeah, there's like um yes, that is true. That is true." And that is one of the things that got me into D&D in the first place was the fact that you could be endlessly creative within this rule set. Um and I find that very difficult, that thing very difficult to explain to other people until they've like played at least one or two sessions, because you know they see they what they see is a bunch of sweaty people rolling dice at a table, right? But and I've mentioned before about how I've me and my players have had talks where we've talked about how the memories that we've gained from uh playing our home game, like the memories of our characters feel real to us, because I heard somewhere that you know the human mind doesn't distinguish between whether human emotions don't distinguish whether you're actually experiencing uh this thing or not, that it just reacts. And I remember the first time I experienced a PC death, I actually like I almost started crying. Like I could feel it in my eyes and in my chest, like those feelings that let me know that I'm upset. And this was for a halfling, I believe it was halfling monk. Um Maybe that's why I'm playing halfling monk right now. Honor the memories of the fallen. But yeah, like I remember being surprised at how strongly I felt that emotion. And yeah, later on when this was like over a year later, Um, my I was a player at long last. I was a player. Um, at like a one shot, and where I was playing basically like an old granny who was a warlock, and one of my fellow party members uh started committing war crimes, and my character did not like that. And then I realized, oh, now I'm reacting very strongly to this. Uh to this thing that isn't real. And it's yeah, and there's like you say, there's truly no explaining that to new players um until they play themselves. And one of the most upsetting actual plays that I ever watched was again Dimension 20, because Dimension 20 is what Critical Role is to everybody else, Dimension 20 is to me. Um but I won't go too deep into spoilers, but it's a couple years old. So um but basically there is truly, I've never been so upset. Like, I remember I cried so hard at some of the events of this. It was A Crown of Candy. That's what it was. And I have rewatched. This is how I know it hit me really hard. Um I have rewatched nearly every single season of Dimension 20. Nearly every single one. The only ones I haven't really are the new ones that have come out, just because they've been coming out in such quick succession that I haven't had time to even watch them all fully yet. Um but I haven't rewatched A Crown of Candy, and in that interim time they've made a prequel. And I don't know if I can watch that one either, because I still remember, my dudes. I remember the bad times. And it's not even that it was bad time, it was just, I have like the tension at the table during that entire season was like nothing I've experienced in D&D. Like, I was truly afraid that they would never do another season again because of how tense everybody was during that whole time. And oh, such good storytelling. This music is weird now. To be fair, DMing for almost 40 years taught me all the leadership and conflict resolution skills I have today. Yeah, for sure. Um like, that was one of the things I used when I was talking to libraries initially about doing these taster sessions, like how applicable the skills in D&D are to just everyday life. Cuz once you realize, oh, there's actually consequences to just being a murder hobo. Um and there's a reason people in real life don't do this. Um Like, in real life, it's, excuse my language, but fuck around and find out. And in D&D, you know, depending on the DM, always depends on the DM, it's a very similar vibe. Um, cause but I do often wonder if because I've talked to my family about this because I know if I had been introduced to this as a teenager, oh, I would have gone off. I would have gone off on it so hard. Oh my god, dude. Um, but I often wonder, would I be as into D&D now if I had gotten into it when I was younger? Would I be Brennan Lee Mulligan levels of fucking talented if I had started earlier? I'd like to think so, but probably not. Like, I think there's just something about, like, when you get into like the top tier of like D like that type of DMing, like the Matthew Mercers, the um Brennan Lee Mulligans, like when you get into that tier, like, it's not just how long you've been doing it, right? That definitely helps. Um, but it's not. I don't think it's the and they've all said it in their own ways that how long you've been playing is not the be all and end all of whether that makes you a good DM or not. And like, yeah, it's just like, and I think it was Brennan Lee Mulligan who said, um, being a good DM is just making sure that your players have fun at the table, and that's it, really. But also making sure that you have fun. I think there's somewhat of a wrong, not even wrong, just that um pe- a forgetfulness, let's say. Yes, a forgetfulness that people have that the DM is there to have fun too. Uh like I DM because yeah, um and like that's one of the one of the big things I worry about in terms of my DMing style. And I think it's just I think it's a very common um fear a lot of DMs have is like, I don't know if I read that situation right, and what I and if what I've done in response was the correct response. Especially when it comes to like, exactly. Like because, you know, in combat there's a, like, you know, it doesn't need to be like a very deep philosophical thing about it. It can just be like, you hit me, so I am going to defend myself. Bunk. You know? But with the but with the emotional stuff, like it's almost like real life. It's like, oh, did I do that right? Like, um, did I read this person correctly? And sometimes and it is fun to like intentionally misread the situation and really run with how much you misunderstand. But yeah, it is one of my big fears where I do get afraid of hurting my players by misreading a situation. That got too real. What time is it? Jesus Christ. I'm an old lady. I need to go to bed. I I had a really weird like slap in the face of like reality. Like I know I'm not that old, right? But um I was at my grandmother's house today, and my grandmother lives by herself, and I was just there kind of visiting her and helping out around the house. And she has nurses, home helpers that come around and help her take care of her personal stuff. And mm, like these people, salt of the earth, just lovely people. And I answered the door to one of these nurses this morning, and the first thing she said was, "Oh, hi, Caitlin." I was like, "Oh no, I have fully never seen you before in my life." And I was like, "Oh, hey," and she was like, "Oh, oh, you're I have a sister," and she's like, "Oh, you're your sister's sister, right?" And I was like, "Oh no." I literally, like, I didn't mean to, but I said, "Oh no," because my sister is she's younger than me, much younger than me, and she is very much a social butterfly. Um she is she just has she has always been one of those people who's had a like just a really easy time making friends with people, and this person was one of those people. And I was like, "Oh no." And cuz I could never keep track of the amount of friends my sister had. And and she's like, "Oh, you don't recognize me, do you?" And I was like, "I'm so sorry. No, I don't." And she was like, "Oh, I live like right up the road from you." And I was like, "Oh no, that's worse. It's so much worse." And then my grandmother came in, and the girl introduced herself, and she was like, "Oh yeah, um I knew your I knew Caitlin back in the day." And grandma was like, "Oh, Caitlin, did she know you back in the day?" And I was like, "Your guess is as good as mine, grandma." and and then she was like, "Oh, you'll probably recognize me if I say my last name." And she said her last name, and it, like, immediately, like, I don't recognize her, I recognize the name, and I know where that family lives. And it was like, oh, thank God. And she seemed happy with that response, but I truly live in fear of those situations. I hate those situations. And honestly, being online and becoming one of those like a creator in this way has exponentially increased that fear. um because now I can not be sure if somebody knows my name because of the content I create, or whether it's because I've I've met them before and I've fully forgotten them as a human being, or whether it's a combination of both. And honestly, that third option, that's the worst. I hate that. And like I said, I haven't been to that many cons in my life. I've been to a couple since I started being creating, and like, luckily I haven't met enough of the community in real life for this to be too much of an issue, but I can see it happening soon. Um, that's a very uplifting motivational speech. In fact, I'll read it. "You are the DM. If you hurt your players, transfer to their characters. Life is fickle, and your players will love you for being yourself. If they did not, they would they would not be playing with you. We all need those. I think as DMs, we all need those pep talks sometimes, because there's a lot of, even the minimum amount of prep work for being a DM is still quite a healthy amount of work. Um, and to me, it truly doesn't matter whether it's homebrew or whether it's a pre-made module or something like that. Um, it is it's work. It is a lot of work, even though it's work that can be enjoyed. And I've I love my players, my home players so much. Like they are truly the bestest of eggs. And I say this because some of them have been my closest friends for a very long time, and one of them is my husband. uh, but they've been so great, and uh, we actually have. Oh, that's the other thing. That's the other one. It's not streamed. I just have another game on Saturday with them, and I'm very excited because we don't we I wish it wasn't the case, but it's always the case with every single D&D thing. Um we don't get to play that often because, we live busy lives, and we live we live far apart. Um but it's always so nice when we get together and we play. And I torture them psychologically. I think I'm going to do this type of stream again sometime. I like it. It's nice. What I don't like is how many of these pixels I missed. Just seems to be a lot more pixels than there needs to be. So I can feel myself flagging a little bit. Oh god, and I'm very stiff. Yeah. Ah, stretch her out. Stretch it out. Jesus. That's one thing I've been kind of struggling to get used to using this tablet. Um just like I think I've my posture's pretty okay for drawing and being on a computer. Yeah, that's true. You are the OGs, doing it truly since the beginning. Is this the last boy? I think this might be the last boy. And then I can go to bed without feeling guilty. Let's go. Oh wow, I know you guys can't hear the music, but it just turned to like heavy metal. like like I don't want to say Slipknot-esque, but no, it's not I don't know enough about metal to be making these comparisons. My husband has tried to show me the ways, but I am a very bad student in this. That was the last one. Yeah. Woo wee. Now, let's see. I was going to change the color of my ability scores, my ability modifiers as well, but I also think that might get a little bit too confusing if I do that. So I think I'm going to leave it there. And then I'll be able to move on to the final two. And then, yeah, and then I think it'll be ready for like maybe like a general kind of tester. But I am going to, regardless, I am going to end the stream there. This has been like a really, really nice, fun one. Like a very nice change from the usual thing. But let's see. Who we gon' raid? Who's up today? I'm not. Wait, where's Try to raid someone new tonight. I'm not going to raid anyone who's playing Phasmophobia. And oh, there's someone doing Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't like horror games. I don't like them. I'm not gonna do. Oh, we've been talking a lot about Baldur's Gate. Let's hop into Captain Amelia, who is playing Baldur's Gate at the moment, so I can actually take a look and see what the fuss is about. So. You've just. Thank you for hopping in. That is a really long name. Automatic Blaze. I've said that completely wrong, and I do know that, and I am sorry. But I'm actually just ending this stream. Thank you for popping in, and even for the brief, for even for the quickest of chats. We appreciate you. Ugh. All of my. And my keyboard decided no. Simply no. So I'm just going to. Oh, and then it decided yes, yes, it will. And. Existence is pain, right? That's what they say? Existence is pain? Here we go, finally. Let's make sure it's the right person. There we go. Found her. Oh, or them. Okay, thank you so much everybody for coming to the stream. This is a very chill one, and I really, really enjoyed it. Let me know if this is something that you guys may want me to do more of later. And I'm sorry, I'm hearing myself in my ear as well. It's quite jarring. Um, so I'm going to be streaming quite a lot this weekend actually. Friday, with Penny Dragon Games on Consequential Quintrivium at 7:30. Um, my own stream again Sunday the 27th at 3 p.m. And then again later that night at 9 p.m. for Explore Shaldera at 9 p.m. Irish time. I believe if you're in America, it's a different time, but I'm too tired to figure out that time difference. So, thank you again. Really, really appreciate you guys being here. And I shall see you all on Sunday. Good night.